Hi, what's going on? So today in this video we are going to talk about the two ways that I go at a very grassy, weedy pond. So if any of you guys have ponds that maybe have like a huge grass mat on top of it where you can't get anything with treble hooks, anything with an open hook, no jigs, nothing like that in, it's just a complete grass mat all over the place, and you're trying to figure out how to fish it effectively. Well, this video I'm going to tell you guys how you can fish it effectively. So there's two ways that I go at a very grassy pond. One is either topwater, not treble hook baits like frogs, stuff like that. I actually have those right here. I'll talk about those here in a second. Or flipping. Now, flipping, punching, whatever you want to call it, easily one of my favorite ways to fish. I've caught some fish doing that this year, and it's a lot of fun, especially if the frog bite doesn't work in a very grassy, weedy pond. You can always go to a flipping bite, and most of the times you can get bit. Now, what you need for this type of fishing, you really can't do it with a spinning rod. I have done it with spinning rods, and I've actually caught quite a few fish doing it with spinning rod, but it's not the smartest idea, because some of the biggest fish out there have been caught flipping. And because they're up in that grass and they're hiding and they don't think that the people could see them, so all of a sudden here comes this bait, goes straight through that mat sitting there right in front of their face, they eat it. But you can do it with a spinning rod. I've done it with a spinning rod, 50-pound braid on a medium heavy bass fishing spinning rod. Not the smartest idea, but it has worked, and if you don't use bait casters and you can only use spinning rods, that is a very good way of doing it, because it can be easier for you in the long run as well. Less backlashes, and the braid stays a little bit better on the spool. But my setup for flipping, I have a spinning rod and a bait caster. I'm going to show the bait caster because I didn't bring the spinning rod in here. But this right here is an Abu Garcia Black Max rod. It's an older rod, but it works really well. It's a 6.6 medium heavy. Probably my heaviest rod that I have, besides like the giant musky catfish rod, which I don't really use it anymore. I got a Shakespeare Agility bait caster on here. This was actually my first Shakespeare Agility bait caster, was this one right here. I bought it back in early 2016, I think. I don't remember if it was 2016 or 2017. No, it was 2016. I know it was. I bought it in early 2016. I just didn't use it. I ended up giving this one and another one to my dad, and he used them for a little while. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to try to use them. I'm going to try to learn, and I got to end up learning. And this one right here was one of the originals. The other original one was a Shakespeare Alpha baitcaster, and it ended up biting the dust. The anti-drag system didn't work anymore because I was jigging up a big swim bait, and all of a sudden I just heard a snap, and my handle just spun, and it didn't put any more line on the reel. So that happens sometimes. But this right here's got 50-pound braid. When I'm flipping super duper heavy cover, I don't go anything under 30. Now, if you have a lot of sparse cover, very little bit of grass everywhere, you can get away with something like 20 or 25. But if I'm fishing heavier cover, I just go with 50 or 30. If they have 30, I'll go with it. If they have 50, I'll go with it. I even have I have a little bit of 65-pound left, and I might end up putting that on here once this line goes bad. So the rig that I have set up on this right now is actually a light punching rig. I don't normally go with something this light, but I do. Sometimes this right here is a little bobber stop with a 1/8 ounce lead weight, and this is actually a 3/0 gauge wire, but a 2/0 length hook. And the reason why I have that shorter hook is because if I wanted to use a shorter bait, something a little bit more finesse, I can put it on the shorter hook and it won't be tearing up the bait or anything with that bigger, wider hook. Meaner wire hook is what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to say. But we'll go ahead and we'll talk a little bit more about hooks right now. But that there is just my setup for flipping. I'm hoping to go flipping really soon at a pond that I have had a little bit of success flipping in. And I'm actually really excited to go because this pond is a lot of grass, and I'm hoping to get to go and flip and catch some big ones. So hooks, I keep it pretty simple with hooks. Now, a lot of people like using these type of hooks here. These are straight shank with a little bit of a bait keeper here. These are just flipping hooks. Personally, I don't use flipping hooks just because they tear up baits really easily. They are hard to rig perfect. I mean, it's almost impossible sometimes to rig it perfectly. That's why I always go with an EWG. This one here is a 2/0 EWG, and this one here is a 4/0 EWG. Gamakatsu, and I don't remember the brand of this one here. But very good hooks. I use this 4/0 for bigger baits such as big worms or big creatures. I use this hook here for smaller creatures and smaller worms. So we'll go ahead and talk about weights. I have 3 main weights that I always throw. This is just in general. This is not for flipping only. This is just in general. I only have these 3 weights. One is the 1/8, that little guy right there. Next is a quarter ounce right there. And the next one is a half. You guys can see there is quite the difference between these. If I can hold them all at once. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Quite a bit of a difference in size between the 3. The half ounce is quite a bit longer and bigger, but they get through the cover better. If any of you guys have ever watched any flipping video out there, they always tell you to try to use as light of a weight as possible, but still be able to get through the grass easily. That's why I like a half ounce. A half ounce can get through that grass easily, and I don't have to, work real hard to get it up through that mat, and it can still catch fish. I watched a video just the other day talking about if heavier weights mess with the fish at all, if they don't like it when there's heavier weight on the end of your bait. And the fish that they studied on didn't react very much at all. He actually held the bait for 11 seconds in his mouth, sitting there holding it, and it had 1.5 ounces weight on it. So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I always go with either half ounce or quarter. The 1/8 ounce is normally when I'm flipping trees, like lighter brush. I can just flip it in there easily, slow fall. But if I'm flipping grass, definitely a quarter or an 1/8 or a half. So we'll go ahead and start getting into baits. So we'll go ahead and go with the biggest baits first. So these 2 baits right here are the bigger worms. Now, if you guys have ever watched some of the videos down in Florida and stuff, you'll see sometimes they'll be flipping some of these big 10.5 inch to 8 inch worms. This one here is 8 3/4. This is a pinto worm. And this one here is an 8 inch Dox Lure Company slammer worm. So these are both Dox Lure Company baits. This one here is just a 3/4 inch longer, and they both catch fish, especially the slammer worm. I've caught a ton of fish on it. Another worm that works really good for punching is this right here. This is the Dox Lure Company Dragon Worm. This here is the only thing I could get bit on a while back when I was fishing the same pond I was talking about a little bit ago. This was the only thing I could get bit on, and they would bite it and then they would let go instantly. It was a very finicky bite. My dad was the only one to catch one, and it was just very finicky bite. But I was able to get a lot of bites on this. I just couldn't, they wouldn't hook up. So that happens sometimes when you're flipping, but whatever. So we'll go ahead and go with the next biggest bait. This one here is called the gillnade. Kind of like grenade, but gillnade. And it's got like a bluegill head up here. It's got a little fin right here. And it's got a beaver style body down here to the jungle hog tail. I like this bait a lot for flipping. I like this bait also for putting on a jig. If you guys haven't seen the jig, I'll actually pull that out real quick. It looks really cool. It's a very big profile, and I think it's going to be a really big fish that's going to eat this. But there that is. Big giant trailer on a full ounce jig. I think that there will catch a giant. Yeah, anyway, go ahead and put this back. Getting off topic a little bit. But anyway, the gillnade is a perfect bluegill imitator, or if you get it in a white color, it can be also an awesome shad imitator when the fish are feeding up during the fall. So next is the jungle hog, the original jungle hog. Now this color here is called black and blue. It's a really good bait. I like this bait a lot. I like this thing on a jig or on just a normal Texas rig, and it also works really good on a shaky head too. That right there is an awesome bait. It has one tail, and that's it. It's not giant, bulky, crazy bait. It's just a very slender, very simple bait that catches fish. So next, this bait here is a new bait, and if you guys follow me on Facebook, you would have seen the pictures I posted yesterday of this bait, and I actually caught 2 fish in two flips. I made 2 flips into this grass mat and caught 2 fish on this bait right here. This is the Doc's Lure Company Finesse Hog. I really like this bait. Here it is in white, and here it is in crystal shad. So I really like that bait. It's a very finesse flipping bait, but it still gets the bites. I was able to catch 2 fish in 2 casts in literally a area probably only 6 foot wide. Usually you can't really do that because when you catch one, it'll scare out the other ones, but I was able to drop that bait right in front of another one and catch him. So that there concludes my fishing for flipping baits and everything. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about top water and stuff like that. So this one right here is a little bit different from the other ones I'm going to show you. This here is a buzzing frog. This is the Doc's Lure Company bullfrog. This color here is actually a custom color that I made. It's got black body with some black down here, and then it's white feet. I think it looks really good in the water. And this one here, I got rigged up with a 6/0 owner weightless hook. If I go to throw this, I don't throw it on braid, and the only reason is because sometimes when you're throwing a buzzing frog on braid, you'll tend to miss the fish a lot more. If you're throwing with mono or fluoro, they can eat it a little bit better because it's got that stretch. They can eat it a little bit better, and you can get them with that hook. Braid is it's a no stretch line, and it works better if you use mono with this. So 20-pound mono, 15-pound mono, that's about the lowest I'll go when you're fishing heavy cover with something like this. Next, these right here. These are just plain old-fashioned hollow belly frogs. I got literally all my hollow belly frogs, I think all of them, 99% of my hollow body frogs are in here. So this here is what is this brand? Ozark Trail, that's what it is. It's a cheap frog, $2, very cheap but very effective. Couple of my other ones, I really don't like this one, but I'll show it to you anyway. It's a Booyah Pad Crasher Jr. One of my absolute favorite baits is this one right here. This is a Spro Poppin' Frog. This is the smallest one. And I've actually caught one of my personal bests and hooked one of my would have been for personal bests on this bait. Sadly, though, I lost the other one because it was probably about 6 pounds. But I lost him, so whatever. But something like that, or if the fish are feeding on shad, you could throw something like this. This is an H2O Express hollow body shad. I haven't really thrown this a whole lot, but it looks good. So that there is my top water baits that I would throw. Something like these here. I wouldn't throw anything with treble hooks, no kind of head and spooks or hoolie poppers, nothing like that. Nothing with treble hooks because it'll get right in that grass and that'd be it. You would basically just wasted time. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know if you like these type of videos, because once deer season kicks in, I will be doing, if any fishing videos at all, it'll be mainly just lure videos, talking about baits and stuff. Because once deer season kicks in, there's no fishing. The fishing is done for the year around November, unless it's like super hot outside. But if it isn't, if it's cold, it's deer's hunting only, no fishing whatsoever pretty much. It's just fishing, or just hunting. That's it. So if you guys do like these videos, let me know. Let me know if you want me to do more of these videos. Hopefully soon I'll be able to either go fishing at that pond I was telling you about earlier, or I'll be able to get out and do an in-depth episode. I'm going to do an in-depth episode on these right here. Grab the wrong ones. These right here, these are the Pinto Worm by Doc's Lure Company. I'll be doing a video on this pretty soon. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.